Hello friends, Namaste. This is Dr. Rachna Srivastava and welcome to my channel, The Healthy Way. In today's video, we are going to talk about all the books written by Dr. Frans Vermeulen, and we will try to have a brief review of all of them one by one. Dr. Frans Vermeulen is a well-known name in the field of homeopathy, and he is an authority when it comes to the modern homeopathic Materia Medica. In his books, we find the Materia Medica of many newly proved and rare remedies which are hard to find anywhere else. Apart from this, he has collected the works of all the old masters, that is, the old original classical Materia Medicas such as of T.F. Allen, Borick, Herring, Lippe, Clark, Kent, Boger, Cowperthwaite, Fartuck, Pulford, etc. So basically, he collected the work of all the old masters in the most concise form, thus forming the Concordant Materia Medica. But before we begin to review each of his books one by one, let us have a glance at the life and story of Dr. Frans Vermeulen. So Dr. Frans was born in July 1948 in Den Helder, Holland. Initially, he worked as a school teacher, but later on trained himself to be a homeopath and started practicing homeopathy since 1979. He also translated many English and German books in Dutch. In fact, his first book, which was released in 1985, was in Dutch and was never translated in English. That was Kindertypes in Homeopathy, that is, Children's Types in Homeopathy. And from his second book began his series of Materia Medica, which was the Synoptic Materia Medica, and it was released in 1992. This was a very famous book and was popularly called the Silver Book, which contained in a very concise form the Materia Medica of 194 remedies in 414 pages. It turned out to be a very handy reference of Materia Medica from many modern sources and was great for learning the basics and the essence of important, frequently used polycrests. The Synoptic Materia Medica had originally grown out of Frans Vermeulen's need to structure the vast amount of homeopathic data into simple, straightforward remedy pictures for students of the Dutch, Finnish and Irish schools of homeopathy. This book was also known as the Silver Book, and it became so popular that it had 9 reprints in 12 years. Then came the third book, which is known as the Practitioner's Bible, and was released in 1994. And it was the Concordant Materia Medica, which was basically a collection of all the classical Materia Medicas like Lippe, T.F. Allen, Cowperthwaite, Borick, Kent, Clark, Boger, Pulford, Fartuck, and lastly, of course, Vermeulen himself. So the Synoptic Materia Medica or the Silver Book was also included in this book. This book had 3 editions. The second came in 1997, in which Herring was included. So both the Materia Medicas of Herring, that is the condensed Materia Medica, and the voluminous Guiding Symptoms of a Materia Medica, which is in 10 volumes, it was also included in this edition. Then in 2000 came the third edition, which is also known as the Millennium Edition. And in this edition, Fartuck was removed as all his material was taken from Boger, which was already included. So to avoid repetition, it was excluded. So this book was translated into a lot of languages, and when it was being translated into German, the translator Veronika Thies resorted to the original German texts. She found many discrepancies in the translations from German into English. These mistakes were corrected in the Millennium Edition, and making it the only Materia Medica on the market where the source material has been double-checked for veracity of translation. Veronika's fastidiousness made this possible, thus it is a reliable and completely unique book. This book has 1545 remedies and number of pages are 1600 plus. Then comes the fourth book, which was Synoptic Materia Medica 2, which was a sequel of Synoptic Materia Medica, that is the Silver Book, and it was released in 1996. So just as the Synoptic Materia Medica had all the polycrests, the Synoptic Materia Medica too had all the small remedies. However, it was expanded to include science, folklore, comparisons, botanical and chemical information, which also bring the remedies to life. This book also had two later editions, one in 1998 and the other in 2003, in which the silver cover was changed and the title of the book, The Complement to Prisma, was added because by then the Prisma was released. So in 2002 came the fourth book, that is the Prisma, the Arcana of Materia Medica. So Prisma is a fully expanded version of Synoptic One containing the same remedies and also an encyclopedic amount of information on the source, zoology, chemistry, physics, distribution, folklore, mythology and history of the remedies. This contextual material is absolutely fascinating reading, bringing the medicinal substances vibrantly to life. Whereas Synoptic One and Concordant are vital books for the student and practitioners alike as clinical reference texts, but Prisma is all this plus bedtime reading too. Then finally in 2004 came the new Synoptic One, which was a sequel kind of book of the Synoptic Materia Medica, the silver book. And in this book, only one single remedy, bambusa, was added. And bambusa is made from bamboo, where in some communities it was believed that when you give water or some healthy syrup to these postpartum women, then they tend to heal quickly if you give them in the bamboo cups. So that's bamboo, and this is the only medicine bambusa that was added in the new Synoptic One. And then in 2005 begins his famous series of Spectrum Materia Medica, beginning with the first volume in the form of the Monera. So we must have studied in 11th or 12th the 5 kingdom classification, where we divide all the living organisms into 5 main categories, that is Monera, Protista, fungi, plants and animals, wherein the Monera and Protista belong to the unicellular group and rest all belong to the multicellular group. Then again, in the multicellular, in the animals, we divide them again on the basis of having backbone or not having into vertebrates and invertebrates. Then again, the vertebrates, the ones having backbones, are again divided into 5 categories, that is Pisces, amphibians, reptiles, apes or birds and mammals. So based on these 5 kingdom classification is based this series of Spectrum Materia Medica by Dr. Frans Vermeulen, in which he has categorized all the remedies of Materia Medica, our homeopathic Materia Medica, into these 5 kingdoms, and then accordingly divided the books into different volumes. So the first volume is Monera, that I just showed you, which includes all the unicellular organisms, that is non-nucleated or nucleated, that is Monera as well as Protista. So there is Escherichia coli, Proteus, Salmonella, Yersinia pestis, Mortadella, Shigella, etc., etc. And there are so many books where we get to study the difference between Bacillinum and Tuberculinum, but rarely are there books where we get to study so many different kinds of tuberculinums. For example, Bacchus tuberculinum is different from Dani's tuberculinum, and we get to study all the Materia Medicas of all these tuberculinums in the Monera. And also the provers of the different tuberculinums, for example, the proving of Shankaran, the proving of Swan, proving of Clark, of different kinds of tuberculinums. And apart from that, there are some rare nosodes, for example, Pertussinum, Leprominium. So the detailed Materia Medica of all these rare kinds of nosodes we get to study in Monera. And apart from all this, we also get to study the classification and taxonomy, that is the nomenclature of these bacteria and viruses. So this book is a whole package in itself, where we see all the information regarding the bacteria, the classification, the nomenclature, the Materia, Medica, and everything. Then in 2007 came the fungi, which is the second volume of the Spectrum Materia Medica series, and it contained remedies which did not fit into either Monera or plants, such as Agaricus, Bovista, Secalcor, etc. The repertory lists 72 fungi, of which 27 have less than 20 symptoms, 40 exist in name only, and perhaps 13 might appear in a repertorization. And therefore, definitely we need a separate Materia Medica on fungi. And then came his voluminous book, which was on plants. Plants is in 4 volumes and is co-authored with his wife Linda Johnston. Then came reptiles in 2020, arthropods in 2023, and finally mammals in June 2025, containing the remedies belonging to the categories respectively. So in arthropods we find Materia Medica of medicines made from insects such as Blatta orientalis, Blatta americana, the cockroaches, then Cantharis, Culex musca, which is made from mosquitoes, Pulex irritans, etc. And also all the spider remedies are also found under this category. Dr. Frans Vermeulen has also 2 upcoming books. One is on birds, which is expected in June 2026 this year, and other one is the Millifolium, containing 1000 plus remedies, and no expected date of the release of this book is mentioned. Dr. Frans has basically redefined the way we study homeopathic Materia Medica, and his approach bridges traditional Hahnemannian homeopathy with modern scientific understanding. All of his books are published by Embrace publishers, and some of his books are also published by Saltire Books, and the price of each is mentioned. You can see that it is however very expensive books to buy as Indians, but for the Indian and the Southeast Asian countries we also have BJN publishers who have released 3 of his books, and one book is released by Indian Books and Periodicals publishers IBPP, which is the Concordant Materia Medica. So if you want to buy these books, I will provide all the links to buy these books online in the description box, so you can check. The printing and the binding of all the books by Embrace publishers are very well done. So this was it. Do hit the like button if you found this video useful, and also let us know in the comments section whether you have or have come across any of the books written by Dr. Frans Vermeulen. And if you have, then let us know what are your opinions regarding them, and did you found them useful. Thank you so much for watching. Namaskar.